everyone. It is my great pleasure to have Michael Richardson here today. I'm going to be interviewing him to find out about his spiritual journey and where he's at the moment. So he has dimensional soul astrology, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
And he's my colleague in Love is the Way. You may have seen some videos that we've done and some posts on Facebook. If you haven't, go to Facebook or go to YouTube and find Love is the Way, and you'll see some other interviews that we've recently done talking about people's spiritual journey.
Mm-hmm.
So, Michael,
Yes.
do you remember when you first realised that you had spiritual gifts or psychic gifts?
I don't really know when it was, but I do remember when I was, I don't know how old, probably under 2, whereby I had an event in my life. It was more along the lines of almost like a dream, but it was actually, I was in my cot, that's how old I was, and I experienced faces coming towards me, and that were in a sort of a different dimension as far as I could tell, and I also felt and saw like particle energy moving across the floor, like water, but it was more granular. So that stuck with me for years. And also another sort of dream state whereby I was involved in something quite solid. It was parked outside of my then house in a small country town in South Australia, but it had an energy which was strong. So, if I use my rational mind, I could say it was like an extraterrestrial device, but I don't really know what it was. So that's the earliest event of something different about what would you consider to be ordinary reality in your life, I guess. But my nearest thing to becoming spiritually involved in my journey was when I went to another major city and was introduced to numerology, and soon after that astrology. So that's when it sort of started really, and that was the age of about 21.
So that was what, 40 years ago?
I'm not counting, but yes, about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're an astrologer. You're a Reiki master teacher.
Yeah.
You also do energy healing.
Yeah.
Tell me about the other things that you do.
Well, recently I've become a quantum soul advisor with the teachings of Julia Balaz, which you have too, of course.
Yes.
So that gives us a galactic perspective to astrology. I've done a lot of work in esoteric astrology. I consider myself a psycho-spiritual counsellor in that. I do crystal therapy as well, which is another way of saying energy healing. I have done massage, but not in a professional status. I do understand it, but I don't do it. What else? Numerology.
So there's a lot of different tools that you use to help your clients.
That's right. Yes, yeah. And tarot. I forgot about tarot.
Yeah, you're an amazing tarot reader. Tarot and oracle cards as well, and his interpretations are quite incredible. And he has many decks, don't you?
People say I'm psychic. I would prefer to say I'm intuitive. I get messages. I get visions.
You channel?
Things pop in. I do channel. Yes. Yeah.
So you've got vast experience in a number of different areas, and you've had this experience for quite a long time.
Yes, been working on it for years. Always a student, always a teacher, and can always be a teacher if that's the case.
A wise soul.
A wise soul.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
What is your greatest wish for humanity, given what's going on in the world at the moment?
Well, I wouldn't call it a wish. I would call it an expectation, really, that we would all basically wake up to the truth of who we are as spiritual beings having a physical or personal experience in bodies. And that waking up would be to understand that we have a God energy or a creative energy, and we are all co-creators on this planet for our reality. And in that sense, if we can change how we see our energy working in the three-dimensional or usual environment, we'll open ourselves up to other levels of understanding, or five-dimensional or more, and realise that we are not here alone as human beings. We're here with many spiritual and also galactic individuals all working on the same thing, which is to evolve this planet or send this planet to another plane, taking all of us with it, by the way.
Yes. Absolutely. So love is the way, and dimensional soul astrology helps clients to actually move forward with that.
That's right. It shows them that there is a greater connection to other lifetimes off planet in other galaxies, and it tells the story of humanity as well, and therefore our place in that story, and that, again, as you said, that love is the main ingredient on that. And as we understand that there's more to living on this planet than just our own racial groups, and know what groups of energy and connection that is more one spiritual but also galactic, we then can see that love is the energy that connects us all, and become one universe in that sense. Absolutely. And I think that not only the planet will ascend, I think that's going to happen, but I also think that the universe will ascend as well. I think this is part of the process, and from what I've connected with and been told, that the planet in our solar system is actually very important in changing the way the whole universe is going to work. So it's really up to us little human beings, to sort of realise we're not so little after all, that we've got a lot of capability and a lot of importance in our process of ascension. It not only is it, as I said, planetary ascension and personal ascension, but also galactic and even universal. I think it's rather large, and I've been told there are many people, many souls visiting this planet as we speak, who want to be part of that process.
So people that may have passed on, maybe even beings from other planets,
and galaxies, star systems
as well.
All here. Because when we start to realise that we have that connection with other galaxies anyway, and we've been living in other galaxies and experienced positive but also karmic lessons there as well, we can realise that as we understand that karmic obligation, we can sign up or incarnate in this realm to learn it, because this is what is known as the hardest schools in the universe, but it's also the fastest way to grow. And if we only can understand that on a better level, that while it is hard, it is also very valuable to spend some time on this planet, especially now, right now.
So the galactic astrology side of things and the quantum soul guidance is giving us an idea about where our soul DNA originated from and where our ancient soul history came from. It's really interesting, isn't it, how that can actually help people with working out why they're here and now on this journey.
That's right,
at this time.
Yes, and that's quite surprising to all of us, I think, when we realise that. But when we get that connection that makes us, in our heart feel strong, it is a very liberating process, a very liberating situation, that really you understand quite clearly that this is absolutely true and correct, that we have been in many places, and right now is the time to wake up to that connection and move it forward and use it for service to humanity, to help us all ascend. And I think many of us believe that we are from other realms as star seeds to actually assist that process now. And they're all, and that's what is part of my process too. And what I do is to not so much wake up people to that, but to facilitate that process so they can understand their connection and their gifts and put them into practice in healing and helping others.
So, in my experience, I've had people come to me that are a little bit confused about what's happening. They can see what's going on in reality, but they're also feeling that there's something else going on as well, which they can't explain. So that's the idea of helping them to move forward with their journey and looking at why they're here and what gifts and talents they have.
It's akin to removing blocks in their understanding, emotional, mental, personality issues, again from picked up through experiences through many lifetimes, but also on this planet, which prevent them to perhaps understanding their sovereign capability there and their importance in this world and in the helping of others as well, if that's what you're saying, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. Discovering their gifts and talents so they can help the people around them.
Yes.
There's also an element of fear there, isn't there, for a lot of people?
Yeah. Because when we step outside of the controlling systems or the so-called reality that we're in, and we understand there's something more to that, we do wake up to the fact that there is something holding us back, and that can be just a sense of being different, and we're not actually that different from each other. We just think we are, but there are people who are perhaps around them and around us, I'll say us because it's in our lives as well, that are afraid of us moving forward as well. And so that fear can be passed on, and there's a lot of family fear going through, and that's being healed. So quantum soul healing can actually reach back to great ancestral karma and clear the way for that, because it's passed on through families for decades, so eons in fact. And if we can get that sorted out, that can open up a lot, because that actually heals ancestral lines. You can actually heal thousands of years of family lineage in one hit almost.
And it also helps the next generations to not go through that process as well.
And this is probably why we are seeing people being born into positions of understanding who they are.
That's right.
Which in the past would not be so prevalent and would be seen to be very threatening to people around them, especially for those who are very close-knit families. And that's, we talk about living in the feudal times, for instance, you have to be the same as your family because that's how you survive. Well, now we can survive differently. We can survive through being who we are, rather than who we're told we are. Being
our authentic selves, rather than being what somebody else wants us to be or expects us to be.
Yes.
Actually, what do you feel is your greatest gift?
I can make a great pasta sauce, but apart from that,
I would say, actually, I would say that probably astrology and your tarot readings, definitely.
Yeah.
But all of the things that you do, you're very talented in. You know what you're talking about. You help people enormously. You're very intuitive. You can dig deep and help people in a very very intuitive way. So that's what I would say.
So you've also identified another good part of my abilities, which is great humility, which is also one of my worst aspects as well. I can't talk about myself at all.
No, I think a lot of healers are like that though.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you.
Yeah, we're not coming from ego. Yeah.
Well, we can also, if we could talk about the galactic, there's a whole bunch of systems in other star realms where there was a time of hiding away, and that memory can be kept running for eons as well. I think that's part of my problem. It's not a problem, but my issue.
I think it does appear in a lot of healers or starseeds.
Yes.
That they have had past lives where they've been persecuted.
That's right.
Yeah. What's your favourite crystal?
People ask me that all the time. I don't know. A really powerful quartz crystal you can't go past is really, and they have amazing patterns and structures and feelings about them. So I really do like quartz. A good structure. I like amethyst as well because that's fairly important in understanding who you are and protection as well. But a lot of stuff I like.
Depends on what it's for.
Yeah.
What purpose?
That's right. It's all about that. But anything that's, I love lapis because the blue is amazing. Lapis lazuli.
It is beautiful.
I like a good labradorite because of the colours, the rainbow inside that, and a nice sort of moonstone which you wear. I do like the moldavite. We both got those on because they're special in terms of they're quite rare, and they can really connect to your higher self and to your inner wisdom very well. And I like that one for that reason too.
Very powerful.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's lots of stones, lots.
So watch this space, because we will be doing a workshop about crystals. Locally in southern Tasmania, but we may try and put one online at some point if there's interest. So put your hand up if you're interested in learning more about crystals from us.
Yes.
Who do you most admire as a mentor or a teacher, Michael?
I've had a number of mentors. I can start with Ayla Aloricame, who was my first did my first reading as a astrology and tarot, and became a mentor down the track as she was able to bring in other sources of information into the country, because she believed that we were going somewhere as a group of people, and she believed in the need to develop people by showing them that they're okay, that their fear can go and they can become who they truly are. That included a group from the University of the Seven Rays, based in New York, where I met Michael Robbins and Marianne Castellino. Michael Robbins is a bit of a mentor for me as well. Fairly briefly, only a few years, but he mentored a lot of people. Ayla also led me to a gentleman called Alfred, who was a very wise individual who worked subjectively on moving energy, and I had a few visits with him. I think they're the main ones for me. There's lots of people who have stepped into my life and moved on again as well. It's like that with me.
I think that's quite normal in most people's journeys.
Yeah.
People do come for a little while. You find out something about yourself or about them, or you teach them something.
Yes.
And then they move on, or you move on. So.
And every client I see is also my teacher as well. I see that as being my best mentors are the great connections you make with the client who's walks in a bit confused or unsure and walks out bounding along the ground like they're on a spring. That's always great to see and great to feel.
It's really satisfying, isn't it?
When their heart becomes open, it's just like, wow, yay.
So, what part does gratitude play in your life?
Gratitude is better than a pasta sauce for sure, because it's necessary in order to move forward. If you are really working with the understanding that everything you have is what you've created, you can't really get caught up in the understanding that you don't have anything, because whatever you see around you, whether you own it through the system of money or not, is all what you've created. So I'm grateful for everything I experience. Hard to say sometimes, but even the difficulties are worthy of the lesson that they teach you, and to be grateful for those difficulties is not what we're trained to do as humans, but certainly trained to do as spiritual beings, is to know that everything that's going on in our lives is for a reason. And I have gratitude for that, because if you're in the moment, and that gratitude puts you in the moment, in the now, you can't really go wrong.
No.
You are in amongst the energy of abundance, and you are then therefore a co-creator and creating everything around you. So every person that comes into your life, you're creating. Everything that you're living in or driving in, if you want to get down to the physical, and everything that you can see around you in the planet is all part of that gratitude. In that sense, we start to step outside of the feeling of lack, but also the understanding that this is not all there is. This is just one chapter in a very long series of lives, and everything is packed inside our soul to be accessed whenever you like. Gratitude connects with that. Love connects with that, because love is gratitude. Gratitude is love.
Are you aware of any spiritual or unseen guides that might be assisting you with your work?
I feel there's a few individuals who were on planet who are now off planet. Three of them I've already mentioned, Ayla, Michael and Alfred, all gone to other spaces, and they all chose their departure as far as I can tell. I do have strangely enough, I have a strong connection with the soul of the Archangel Michael. Strangely enough, because my name's Michael. Maybe it's because my name's Michael, I don't know.
Could be.
But I connect with that. That's the point of the matter, and that's the whole thing. Whether you feel as though you are that individual or whether you feel as though you connect with energy, it's really about connecting to love anyway, because we're all one energy.
Absolutely.
So that guidance is certainly there for me. But as an intuitive person, I just seem to get messages, and I don't necessarily have a tag on it that gives them a name. It's just an energy, and I take it. If it feels right, I take it and I pass it on. I think that's the important thing to know. If you get something that's come through, pass it on. It might be of value.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. If you could talk to someone you've not been able to talk to, for whatever reason, who would that be?
Well, the three people I mentioned before.
Okay.
So all those I'd like to know more now that I'm a bit more down the track, because these individuals were when I was quite young, before 30. Now I'm 35. Is that right? No.
That's right.
But also my father's moved on. I'd like to have a chat with him and see what he's got to say about the other side.
I'd like to do that too.
Yes.
My father.
Yes.
Yeah. I get glimpses of it.
Yeah. And we already, and I am anyway, but it'd be just nice to have a longer chat with a nice coffee.
Yeah.
He likes coffee. Yeah.
How would you like to see humanity in the next 20 years?
Well, it goes without saying that we are going to evolve and we are going to ascend. I would just like us all to realise that it's easier than it looks, and understand that there's other forces going on that's trying to stop that process, and we've got to understand that they aren't controlling us. We're allowing that to happen by not believing who we are and believing our strengths. But it's really hard to get past the fears, but also the negative ramifications of what ego does as well. It's getting that balance so you can have that still, quiet voice speaking to you at all times. And with that connection, we know the truth straight away. And it's just a knowing that it's not always a knowing in the head through the mind. It's actually a knowing in the heart, and it's a felt thing. So that's where we need to fix our emotions too and get them in balance.
There's a lot of influence from outside sources that affects that.
That's right.
Like multi-level, media, multi-level media, all different types of media.
Yes.
Social media.
Yes.
Press.
Yep. There's good and bad to both of those so far.
That's right.
And I can't use the word bad, but not as productive.
Yeah.
Holds you back.
But then there's creation from your own imagination, which may or may not be right. So,
yes, that's right.
Yeah, lots of influence.
Yeah. So there is a technique or techniques that we can get that balance correct, so we know where we're coming from when we do get something that becomes in our awareness. We can sort of clarify that for us. Is it a fear, an emotion, something that's not positive, or is it something that's actually coming from a spiritual or deeper place in our being? And if we can get that sorted out, we would all become authentic, and we'd all be able to work together and help the process, because it is a group process. We're ascending as a group.
Absolutely.
And it's got nothing to do with race. It's got everything to do with the fact that we're human. And in fact, we're not all human in that sense. We're more than human.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we need to dig deeper and actually explore who we are, why we're here.
Yes.
And be more authentic within ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your greatest wish with regard to your career?
I would like more clients. Because clients are not only my bread and butter, but it's more a case of it's what fuels my heart, my soul. It builds love inside me. It's already there, but it allows the release of that, and I can share that. And for me, it's important to do that part of it. What I'm doing now is good. We are, as Love is the Way, working towards getting people to see other options through what we're doing and what other people are doing.
We're helping people to explore.
Yeah, and to know that we've all got the same capability, and that's just a matter of saying yes. Let's try that. Yeah.
So your career really, the work that you do isn't really like a job. It's something that you really love to do.
I have no intentions of retiring at all.
No.
With that, it's a part of me that is.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with 9 to 5 or turning it off. It just goes all the time.
Yeah.
And I want it that way.
Do you have any difficulty with being so sensitive and intuitive? Does that come up at all for you?
Yeah, I never thought I did, but apparently I have. Because there have been a lot of issues in my past which have caused a lot of fear, a lot of difficulty, but I just moved on with those things, but not necessarily sought help for that. I think if we can get help, we can actually move quicker and not waste time and not hide ourselves away, which is something that I probably did a bit too much of, I think.
I think sometimes for starseeds and empaths and healers, some of the experiences we have when we're younger actually do have an influence on how we tune into our gifts, and everyone could become a healer if they wanted to. It's having an understanding of what that means and how it can happen.
Yes.
So teaching Reiki very early on in life would be a good thing.
And astrology.
Because that can help with relationships and looking at why things aren't working with families, for instance. But it also gives people an understanding of what they can change in their lives if they want to. They've got free will to make changes.
Well, clearly that they can change things.
That's right.
Rather than they can't change things, or they have to go look outside of themselves to change things. It's really knowing that once you understand that there isn't naught but change, and astrology tells you that, you can then decide to be cooperating or co-creating with that process, and then you can seek assistance, such as a Reiki practitioner or a crystal therapist, to balance up the physical, emotional nature, or an astrologer to work with the psycho-spiritual processes, or all of the above. And that's a very sharing thing, because if we're all doing the same thing, being who we are, our gifts will always be available for everybody. And we wouldn't be where we are now in that sense, but of course we are where we are for a reason. It's to learn lessons about how to get there.
So having a realisation that there were things that were going on in childhood that maybe need to be healed or dealt with, or changing your attitude towards them somewhat, that can actually be very beneficial for everybody to walk down a path as a healer, so that their wounds are healed.
That's right. Well, those of us who have had difficulties in their early life are the ones who are the healers, because they understand how it is.
Absolutely.
And how it can be and how it can affect their life. So those who are still stuck in that one is karma, but they just perhaps haven't realised that they have got the ability to change. And again, that may be because of conditioning, or it may be because they are emotionally quite damaged, and that's a controlling feature in itself. But yeah, if you can really get past the feeling of helplessness and move into asking for help, things can move quite quickly. But it's difficult to get out of the helplessness sometimes. It's quite hard.
I think for some people there's a lot of fear.
Lots of fear.
And some people just don't want to go down that path because they're too afraid to go through. There is always some emotional pain when healing is taking place, especially of that depth. And so, they may not choose to do that, which is obviously up to them.
It's like everything to do with health and healing. Is that it takes a long time to get unhealthy, but it takes a very painful, although quick process to get you healthy again.
Yes.
But that painful process of coming back out of many lifetimes of the same sort of thing going on, it's very easy to get involved in that, but it's harder to get out because of that. You have to go through so much more pain so in a shorter period of time. So people back out of it quite often. I've backed out of a number of things which could have been good for me, but thought, no, too hard. But eventually, you find yourself coming back to it because you have no choice sometimes.
Yeah, the universe keeps on presenting the same issue over and over again until you eventually have to. You may have to say, I will go through this and I'll deal with it.
And it's probably important to know that when you use the word the universe, it's actually you anyway.
That's
just a different part of you.
Yeah.
Because the different part of you is the wise part, is the non-seen part of our being, but it's there all the time, and it knows what you need to evolve because it understands that energy and evolvement is all there is. That I said before, there is naught but change, and it's facilitating that change by connecting to you and getting you to connect to it or yourself, and therefore the universe or self is really driving you forward or asking you to drive forward. And we just don't think it's us. So we have to remind ourselves that we are in full charge of our life. We just got to decide that that's a good idea.
And take responsibility.
Take responsibility,
Well, Michael is available for readings and healings. And he'll be doing a lot more work this year with Love is the Way, won't we?
We will, yes.
And he has a website, don't you?
Yes.
Dimensional Soul
astrology.org. Yes.
And he's also got a Facebook page. So if you'd like a reading, you can contact him through the website.
Yes.
Or on the Facebook page, or through Love is the Way.
There's also a Linktree connection you can make. If you know Linktree, it's just linktr.ee/Dimensional Soul Astrology. That's all you need, and it'll bring all the connections I have online, so you can see all that I do. You can connect to that. You can look at the woodwork I do as well, making wands and boxes. If I get any more spare time, I'll do some more of that.
Sounds good. Good. Just a little aside thing. I met Michael a long time ago when I just started my spiritual journey, and he told me I would be a healer. He told me I was a Reiki teacher, and I didn't even know what Reiki was at the time. And here I am today doing all the things that I do, and he was absolutely 100% right.
That was a while ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, and thank you for mentoring me through galactic astrology course as well.
No problem.
Yeah. So I'm still learning. I've still got my L plate still, or P plates?
I think you're more than P.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
That's nice of you to say that.
That's all right. It's only because it's true.
I'm still learning.
We're always still learning. As I said, student and teacher of the ancient wisdom is what we're all about. Yeah. So let's go and learn some more.
Absolutely, yeah. Love learning everything. Thank you very much for letting me interview you today. It's been a real pleasure, and we'll be doing some more interviews in the near future with other practitioners and people in general.
Such as you, for instance.
Ah, okay.
Yes, you'll be next.
That'll be interesting.
It will be.
Thank you again, and love is the way.
Love is the way for sure. Thank you.
Thank you.